guys. It's your radio host, Lady P, and this is the New Relationship Show. This is Sunday, like I was going to say February, Jesus, Sunday, April 11th, 2021. And we are so happy that you were able to join us tonight. We are actually making some changes to the show. We will no longer be broadcasting the Battle of the Sexes, so we will have our topic of the week, our advice letter, and we're going to be adding a new segment name to come in the future. But we thank you for joining us. Tonight we have our panel of relationship experts and coaches. We've got Naomi J. Hardy, our relationship expert out of Houston.
Yay!
Yay! Oh, wait, let me find that. Wait, where's my yay thing from the... is it this?
Yay!
That seemed really low. Wait.
Yay!
And, and we also have Jamian Parker, self-proclaimed relationship expert. Yes, I did the air quotes. Also out of H-Town. Hey, Jamian.
I didn't proclaim anything.
Yay!
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. That was...
I've been in some relationships, so
so you got some experience. Okay, I got you. Okay.
No expert.
So...
Don't put that pressure on me.
Okay, no pressure. So, we are so glad to be able to come on tonight and talk to you guys. We have a very interesting topic, and I think the letter is interesting. I was hoping that we would have Cousin here to talk on it, since the guy who wrote it is like in his age group, but we don't have him with us, so we're going to have to let Jamian give us the male take on that letter tonight. But we want to start with our topic. Yeah, that letter was interesting, wasn't it? I was like, woo! Okay, but anyway, our topic is this. There are more advantages, and this statement, like I said, I don't know where it came from, but this is how the topic reads. There are more advantages than disadvantages to sexual abstinence in a relationship. What are your thoughts on this? True or false? So first, whether you believe it's a true statement and why, I guess. So I think we're going to start with Jamian tonight. Jamian, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Why you gotta start with me?
Huh?
What I do to you?
Wait, what?
What I do to you?
What happened to what?
What did he do to you to have to go first?
Well, I mean, because you're our guy on here.
I see. Y'all want me to go first so y'all can gang up on me. I get it.
We would never do that. Never,
See
ever.
what's happening. There are more advantages than disadvantages of sexual abstinence in a relationship, true or false? Could be either. I don't know. I mean, I put it this way. When I was, for me, sex has never been end all, be all, deal breaker. It's just one of the things. If I'm dating someone and she's like, I'm not having sex till I get married, if I want to date her, I'm going to date her. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I can't see you. Always been like, sex is great. I like sex.
So let me clear that up.
I'm not.
He said, trust me.
Trust me. Okay, now.
I'm exuberant, excited. You know, I put my best foot forward. I get down and dirty. I'm creative. You know what I mean? I do what I got to do.
Okay, now.
It's never been anything where I did not date someone because they were having sex, or did not date someone because they were having sex. It was always one of the things, and I'm gonna be honest. For me, sex was always something I enjoyed, But it's like, okay, I liken it. I'm not lactose intolerant, but I liken it to someone who's lactose intolerant. Because, like, they love, like my pastor loves ice cream and yogurt and stuff. But he's lactose intolerant. His wife would tell you. Um, but, he every now and then he just has that craving that he just can't resist, where he goes and gets him a little ice cream or a yogurt or whatever. And he pays for it after, right?
Okay.
For me, like early on especially, it always seemed like I would date someone, I'd really get to like them and everything, we'd have sex, and then all of a sudden I wasn't interested physically anymore. And it really was kind of a downer for me because I did really enjoy sex. But then I really did want to be in a relationship. So it was hard to, because I like sex.
We heard that part, right, Naomi?
We got that.
We got that part.
Kind of like, and for me, just finding a girl who likes you in that way, like that was a huge blessing, because I never considered myself attractive growing up. So it was always like a big shock whenever somebody actually was attracted to me.
When they was like, hey, boy.
Yeah, I'll be like, who you talking to? You want me to tap him on the shoulder or something? Like, no. Oh. So I always have kind of had that love-hate relationship with sex early on, until, I don't know, as you mature and as things become more or less important to you, I was able to, I guess you could say, put sex in its proper category, where it's great. It's an amazing thing between two people who, care about each other, love each other, and want to express that in a physical way. But it's not the goal of the relationship. And I think, without even realizing it, because, you talking with your boys and like everybody's talking about, oh, you smashed, you knocked it off, like, what's going on. And so it was always like a checklist item. And so I guess I kind of treated like, once you check that off, it was kind of like I had subconsciously set myself up to fail from that point on, because it was like I never had any other check marks. It was like, check mark done. What's the point of the relationship now? So I guess as I grew, mentally, spiritually, physically, and just in my enjoyment of another person and the things and that I was looking for in a relationship and wanting to experience, sex, I guess it never lost its appeal, but it lost its power over me, to where I wasn't like a slave to it or needed it for any one thing. Now, when you with somebody, trust me, there are times where, she get out the shower at the wrong time, and you like, girl, we about to jump right back in. So don't even dry off, girl. But it's also at the same time, now it enhances the relationship, as opposed to it being where I needed to get to in a relationship, if that makes sense. So I would say either way, whether you are having sex, whether you aren't having sex, what I say is, whichever you do it for you. Do it because that's what you want to do. Don't do it because of some preconceived notion of what you think is expected of you, or he's looking for, or she's looking for, even, and this is what I found, like the girls who talk the most crap about sex are the ones who really ain't trying to really do nothing. They like talking about it, like, you ain't ready for this, and you're like, yeah, okay, then. All right, what, 12 again? Like, come on now. We're over with that. That's done. Hello, whoever walked behind them. And then, but I just say, like, basically, I just think sex has to be your personal preference, and just be confident and enjoy that. Enjoy the journey and the road leading up to it. And if you do want to have sex, have sex. If you don't. But don't let someone else talk you into it, and don't do it because it's either expected or because, you think that's what you have to do or should do to please them or keep them.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers the question.
It does. It gives us your thoughts on the statement or the topic. So Naomi, You just got
there-
folks
there's-
walking back and forth behind the camera. Tell them just come
So-
on and say hello.
So that was my nephew. He came to plug the computer up for me so it doesn't go dead in the middle of the show.
Got you.
So yeah.
Hi,
and
nephew.
He sometimes I'll run the questions by him for the show too, so he enjoys it.
Okay.
And so that's from a millennial standpoint.
Right.
Yes. But I echo a lot of what Jamie said, just in terms of, when it comes to what we're talking about tonight, please let it be your choice as to what you do. But this is just some insight to either how it looks or opinions, or from the standpoint that I'm coming from, some of the research that has been done. So in the research, it says that it definitely says that it's true, that it's advantages to being celibate in a relationship, practicing abstinence in a relationship, because it allows you to get to know the qualities of a person outside of, because when we start having sex, whether we like it or not, the tint in our glasses change, Mm-hmm. We start looking through rose-colored lens.
Depending on how the experience was, it could be the end. I'm just saying.
Yeah. we start looking through different lenses,
right,
though.
Right.
We really
but you're
do.
right. Mm-hmm.
And so it allows you to really get to know the qualities and maybe some of the red flags that you would overlook, you really pay attention to, but also some of the wonderful things you get to experience, because you're not just thinking about what's the next time we're going to hop into the sack. Oh man, that was really, really great. And then it allows you to spend time together just really exploring, just to be honest with you, exploring the body in a different kind of way, because it takes you to a heightened place each time, and it builds up the anticipation. And just on a real side, you might get more gifts and more dinners. You hold out a little bit.
Work
I get a few
it.
more gifts, a few more dinners, instead of them saying, "Hey, what you cooking tonight?" Because
I feel like if it's good, you're gonna get way more gifts and dinners than you can handle it if it's that good.
Jamie, we done already talked about you a different kind of man, sir. We've already discussed that. You're a different kind of man. Wish there were more of you. Wish there were more men of you older.
Yeah,
But yes, yes. So I agree with what you're saying, but you stand out among the most. It also helps you with a sense of connection. You connect to more than the physical touches, and it just takes you to a different level. And then you pat yourself on the back because you set some standards. I don't know one person that has abstained or practiced celibacy for a while in a relationship that didn't say, okay, you know what, I had some standards. Now, whether those standards, how they feel about those standards were different, but I had some standards. I went, and you can check that box. I had some standards. And then, when you finally do have sex, it's like you're gonna give it your best because you waited. And I'm just looking at the time when I'm speaking from my standpoint, from a woman's standpoint. You waited for me, and so now tonight I'm bringing it. Because you took the time to wait for me.
Wait, is it like Betty White's song? It's gonna be like that tonight.
So tonight is tonight. So just that whole thing from a female perspective, if it's the female, because sometimes it's the male. It's not always the female that's saying abstain. Sometimes it is the male that's saying abstain, but still, it's just the thought that you were kind enough, you were considerate enough to wait on my standards and bring it. So for people listening, that's the thing too. If you're gonna abstain, then when you do finally do something, bring the A. You got to bring the A game. So that part, and just the built up.
Lukewarm. Don't come lukewarm.
Don't come. That's right.
Come in, don't play.
Don't call it. The tea kettle need to be whistling.
Well, now.
The tea kettle needs to be
This is what I'm
whistling.
waiting for? You just gonna lay it? Like, really?
No,
We're
no,
gonna make
no,
a
no,
sacrifice. You
no.
want some?
No, you better spend that time in training, stretching, and bending, and everything.
Oh,
So,
well.
but
Oh,
so yes. So I think that it has its advantages, and the studies and the research says that it has its advantage. Well, if used correctly, don't use it as a pawn. Don't use it as a negative thing that you abstain, and don't misuse and abuse it. Then it definitely has its advantages.
right.
I definitely agree with you, but I think consequently, one thing that you said made me think of, like like I was telling you before, I didn't quite know how to put sex in a proper perspective, and so I think maturity has a lot to do with that. The reason abstinence gives you that time to get to know each other is because we place so much emphasis on sex. Like, we don't realize what else there is in a relationship. Like, it's like, yeah, I'm dating her. 5 dates in, I should be knocking it off. Like, if we not at least kissing by the second date, something wrong. What's going on? Like, that's our focus. We're so hyper focused on the physical, to where I think a lot of times, and this is from experience, I will date someone who says, you know what, I don't want to have sex. I really just want to just really get. And I'm like, cool, girl, no problem. You know what I mean? And we talk, and the mental stimulation is so deep. Like, she might have said 6 months, but you talking about the third, fourth date, and it's not me pressuring her or anything, because I love to just let the moment be what the moment is. Like, if it's that moment, it just happens. Like, I don't like to say, oh, we're gonna have sex Thursday. Like, nah. If Thursday happens and we happen to look each other and that spark hits, then bam, Thursday is the day. But it might be Tuesday, it might be Friday, it might be Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I don't know. But I love just letting that moment happen, and I think that is one thing that abstinence will allow you to do. Um, but I would also say, just be prepared, because your moment, she might be stronger than you. And she'd be like, I told you I wasn't doing that. I want to, but I told you no. So just be prepared. Respect the significant other's decision. But it is about that maturity, and just being able to get to know each other, with or without the sex.
Right. And some of the things that I found when I looked into the topic is that some people choose abstinence to wait until they feel ready for a sexual relationship, wait until they find the right partner, because we all know that dating someone doesn't mean that they're the right partner, whomever you're dating. So if you turn around and everybody then like Jesus, it gives you a chance to enjoy the partner's company without having to deal with a sexual relationship, because honestly, once sex comes into the equation, it changes everything. And I remember, and this is like going back to the first dude that I dated. I shouldn't call him a dude. The first guy that I dated, that I ended up marrying him. And we waited, because this is the first one, and I'm like, I'm scared anyway about the whole thing. And when we finally did it, it wasn't all they wrote about. But then again, that was my first, I know. But what I found was, after that, it was like, he just wanted to do, and I was just like, oh my God. So it's some things where it does change, where if that wasn't really the focus and you had a chance to kind of get to know the person, and then now, you've gone to that point, then it's like you can't go back from that. So it's like giving yourself time to make sure, because a lot of times, people can fake the funk but so long. And if you wait long enough to get to really, really, really know the person, take that out of the equation, and, make it be known that it's out the equation. So, they're not trying to put on a facade so they can get it. So if it's, we already know that's not even part of the equation. Maybe that would allow for more honesty in getting to know one another. And like I said, what sticks in my mind was my mother. And she used to always say, the only thing that's 100% is, and she's right. I mean, honestly, as far as even pregnancy, but then not even that, because now, you have so many other things that's, you got STDs, you got stuff that you keep the rest of your life, that if in the future you have a partner that you're serious about, now you done brought something that you can't never get rid of. You have the ones that will kill you. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I think they've come up with some kind of something for HIV. I'm not 100% sure. But, it just...
Still ain't something.
There's
Still ain't something.
okay, because back in the day that was like you find out you got that, you dying, you're not gonna make it. So there's that. But then when I was doing the research, there actually had some disadvantages, which I was kind of surprised. But this is what the article that I found said, that the consequences of sexual abstinence in men, nervous conditions, which I didn't know, loss of sexual joy, poor sperm quality, lack of oxygen. I was like, lack of oxygen, okay. And
There's a lot of work. A lot of work.
I guess so.
Man, it's like exercise. It's exercise.
Actually, I did hear that would be like a good workout, but for women, it said psychological disorders, decreased immunity, health injury, sexual aversion. So I was like, wow, so I mean, it was an interesting read, just the things that I found about it. But, honestly, I think there is a lot of benefit to it, because it takes the pressure off, of that portion of the relationship. And it allows for communication. It allows for quality time. It just allows for a lot more before you go there,
Lady P.
Yes.
I need you to come back and unpack that part.
Which
about you said that it
the disadvantages for the...
No. You were talking about tension. It
Oh, let me see. Okay.
It relieves pressure. I need you to unpack it relieving pressure, because it does build up pressure.
Wait, when we're talking about the disadvantages?
You had moved on to the advantages, and so you just said about the pressure.
I did.
That.
I thought I was just. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I took me. So the pressure. You mean the pressure to have sex?
No. If you are practicing abstinence, it does add pressure to the relationship. It doesn't relieve.
Oh, I
pressure.
see what you're saying. Well,
it does add pressure.
I'm not saying indefinite abstinence, but I'm saying abstinence in allowing you time to get to know the person, get to know if you want to go that route or not. Not just assuming that everyone that you date, that's the where it's going, right? So that was the pressure I was talking about. The pressure of feeling like, okay, well, I'm dating this person, so the natural way it should go is that, we're going to have sex, and, it just kind of gets that off your mind, and you can like kind of focus on before you get to the sex part, because that's going to change everything. Once that happens, you can't go back from that. So the not feel now, I think that if the route is something that should be discussed, so that everybody knows. So it's not that one person has decided that and the other person don't know, and they like, well, why are you blocking me every time we trying to go? So it should be something discussed. And I mean, I don't think it should be an indefinite thing in the, that, I mean, but that's just me where I am at this point. I wouldn't go into it saying, well, for the rest of the time that we're in this relationship, we're going to be abstinent. But for a time, and not saying, well, it's 90 days because it's the 90-day rule. It has nothing to do with that. But whatever time it takes to get to know enough about the person, because, like I said, people can fake the funk but so long. And They can pretend, and I'm not trying to put it all on guys. However, I will say that there are some men that will come in and they engage in conversation because they want to hear what you are looking for. That's the first thing. Well, what are you looking for? I'll know it when I see it. How about that? But the thing is, they listen for whatever it is you're saying that you're looking for, and then they make themselves to be that to get their end result, which is getting the draws. I'm just saying, so there's, if enough time is there, whatever ways that, I guess, or however they're portraying themselves to be, the truth is going to come out. It should be enough time for the true person to come out. There are some that are really skilled at it that will fake the funk for a long time. I actually had a discussion, I have discussions with folks, but I had a discussion with a guy probably like 2 years ago, and he told me flat out, he said, no matter how long it takes, if it take a year, if that's what I want and I'm just, waiting to get it, I'm going to do and act like this. I could do that for, and he said, he wasn't no shame to his game. That was his MO. That's how he operated. And he felt like if he wanted to have sex, he would do whatever he could, however long it took, he would hold out. And that didn't mean that it was going to be any more permanent or not. And the thing that's funny is that when I have these conversations with these folks, I'm sure that they don't mean to tell me the stuff that they tell me. Because if they really thought about it, they probably wouldn't tell me, But he did, and he was straight up. He said, that however long it takes, if that's all that I'm looking for, if that's all that I want, I'll wait however long it takes before she say okay. And I was like, wow. So
No, but I can see where that would take pressure off. Like, if you're confident and like, no, I'm not doing that, then it does kind of take away. If you're upfront and honest about it, it does kind of take away the pressure, because it's like, don't ask, don't even think about it. Like, it's not going there, and so it does kind of alleviate something in the short term. I guess the longer it goes on, maybe it does start to build up that pressure. But in the short term, I can see where it could relieve.
I just want to make sure that the listener knows that there are 2 points. So yes, it may take pressure off of we're saying male and female, so it may take pressure off the female, but it may bring an unknown pressure to the male or to the person that's not accustomed to abstaining. That's all I'm saying.
Masturbation for.
And that's what I'm saying. So be it the man or be it the woman who is dealing with someone abstaining, I'm just saying that there is another level of pressure that happens, and we can't ignore that. Now, the impact of it is different, but there is another level for someone who is not accustomed to waiting.
You can't ignore it, but that's what masturbation is for.
To the listener, listen to the advice. To the listener.
I was just saying, look.
To the listener.
Mentally, and this is for women too. Mentally, like, it is, if you holding out and your girl or your dude is looking really good, and you just like, this some bullshit. Oh! You can, sometimes you gotta help yourself out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
Yes.
But I will say this: it is the benefits of it. Not only help the person who did it, but then the person who stuck by them through it. Like, it does. I would say that does create a bond between y'all. That you supported this person that you care about in this way. You know what I mean? So it shows her what you're about, and it shows you that that you can be that person. You can be that dude or that woman.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
So
totally agree.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, that was all I had on the subject, and I think we covered it well. We had a few comments. One that, good point, I believe it was to the point you made, Jamie, and then later on I'm hearing friends first. which is always important because if it's something that's going to be long term and you're thinking marriage for however long, over time things change. It may be health issues, as we're going to find out in this letter. So if it's not just about the sex, then it shouldn't be an issue, if something comes up and now the sex is off the table. Now, if that's all it's about, then as we age and, may have some issues that affect that sexual performance, it can end up being an issue if that's all it was about. It's got to be about more than that. That should not be the be-all, end-all. And, I always hear start the way you want to finish. So it's kind of like you need to kind of have that time, I think. And I think there are more benefits than not. Jamie, in the case of someone that you date and they say, okay, well, they're not going to have sex until marriage, and you continue to date them, what happens when you decide that, this isn't the person that you want to marry? Even though you enjoy dating them or whatever, and they've said straight up, it's, you understand? So then do you come back and say, well, I mean, what do you say? You know what I mean?
Say, I don't think we're going to make it.
Just, and reason.
But wait, maybe I'm not understanding the question. What do you mean? If you guys haven't had sex, what's the issue?
Well, okay, so sex is not the be-all, end-all. You meet the person and they say, listen, I just want to let you know before we even go any further, I don't plan on having sex till I get married. So you say, okay, well, you continue to date, the relationship comes, there's communication, all this stuff, and then during the midst of this and, you've gotten to know the person and whatnot, that this is not the person you could see yourself spending the rest of your life with. So even though sex has not been in the equation, it still has been a relationship with a lot of communication. You understand? So at that point, do you say, well, because we ain't had sex, I know you're not my, you understand what I'm saying? I know you're not going to be my wifey.
I'm going to hang in there till I get some.
But you know what I'm saying? So
it's the same as if y'all were having sex. At some point, you just gotta be honest with yourself and with them, and be
and
like,
know that it's not working.
This, like, you cool, you really cool peoples, and I hope that that we always are on good terms. But as far as us goes, it's not working out. Okay. Now, the difference is that let's say that they're not saying I want to wait till I get married. If they're just saying I just don't want to have sex right now, I'm just not having sex right now. And then you got people who will, they'll date started with good intentions and then realize, oh, this ain't never gonna work. But they stay in it because they want to at least knock it off before they jump out.
They leave them a memory, which is wrong because then the minute they do, you know what, this not gonna work.
So, but I'm saying, like, it shouldn't matter whether you are or not having sex. If it's not working, it's not working.
Right.
You just gotta have that conversation.
Okay. All right. Naomi, any final thoughts on this topic before we move into our letter?
No, I just agree that there are disadvantages and advantages, but I think the advantages outweigh.
Got you. Okay. All right, so we're going to get into the letter, and it goes like this. Dear Lady P, I'm a widower. I was married for 30 wonderful years. I lost my wife about a year ago. I married my college sweetheart, and now I am 56 and ready to enter the dating pool once again. I know that things have changed significantly with dating since 30 years ago. I'm afraid of online dating as I have heard many horror stories. Here's the issue. I find myself attracted to my wife's best friend, who has been so supportive to me since I lost my wife last year. During our marriage, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and we as a couple made the decision to have surgery to remove it. We were told that there was a chance I would never again be intimate with my wife, and she was okay with it. Now that my wife is gone and I've grown close to her childhood best friend, I don't know whether a relationship is in the making, but I'm afraid that once she finds out I am unable to perform, that will be the end of it. I've tried every pill on the market, pump, etc. My question is it possible to have a good relationship with someone without intercourse, or do you think I'm doomed? Signed, trying to move forward. And I see you shaking your head, so I'm letting you go first, Naomi.
This letter, first of all, if she your wife's best friend, she knows.
That's what I was gonna say. Cause you know the wife
If
done
she your
told
wife's
her.
best friend,
She
she
already
already
know your stuff don't
know.
work.
She already knows. So that's your least. That's your least concern. The girl already knows what you're capable of and
Or
what you're
not
not.
capable.
The conversations
Right. She done
have
told
already
her
taken
all
place.
about it.
Yeah, all about that. That's number one. But number two, the headspace that you're in, because you said here's the issue, but the issue is not that you're dating or wanting to date or wanting to get close to the best friend. The issue is that you have concerns about your ability to perform. And so I disagree with that, because maybe you're not able to have an erection, but you are able to perform. And so when you look at the right perspective, yeah, I just think you need to put it in perspective. And so you can perform and you can use enhancement to make it a pleasurable experience. So I think that if that's your concern, if that's your only concern is about the sex, is that you just look at it from a different perspective and you be willing to allow yourself to explore a little bit more about your capabilities. Because, like I say, she already knows. She already knows, so it's not going to be a surprise to her. And if it is a surprise to her, guess what? That's not your wife's best friend.
Well, he said childhood best, because he said best friend, but then at the end he said childhood best friend. Let me see.
They knew each other from childhood. That was my understanding.
Okay, got you. So they were best friends from when they were kids, but okay. Yeah, because she came around to support him. Okay, all right.
So that's what I'm thinking. So she already knows. But even if she doesn't know,
so wait, I need you to back up a little bit. So how exactly? You know where I'm going. So my question, Naomi. So, how does he perform if his stuff don't work? I'm just.
You really want me to go there?
Yeah, I sure do. We grown. This grown folk radio.
Hands, mouths, feet, and toes.
Okay, they say you're old enough to ask, you're old enough to know.
There are people who are paralyzed from the waist
Exactly.
down that still have sex.
That's where I was going. There are people in much different situations and
So
still
how
have
they do
active
it if they paralyzed from the waist
full.
down?
They make it work.
Oh.
They make it work.
Hi guys, it's radio host Lady P.
I'm Cousin Howard.
And we are talking to you about the hottest relationship show that is taking the internet by storm. I didn't take off my timer.
So we limit ourselves. We limit ourselves when there's so much more capability.
Okay. Okay. I have a couple.
When I first, I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah,
when I first started reading this, I thought this was about his feelings about dating his best friend's, his wife's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw that it was about his level of impetus, I'm going like, this is not a, this is something that you can work with, you can deal with, you can build on, and you can find out more things about yourself that you're able to do in the absence of being able to get an erection.
Okay. I have a couple friends that are in that age group that have had some issues, and we've had discussions. That's why I was asking you. We've had discussions about, what they do. And one of them was telling me that he is, upright or straight up and honest with the person, and they have the discussion before they get to that point to let them know that, these are, he does or he's not able to get an erection, and these are the things, so I guess he talks about it beforehand. So I don't know.
Well, communication always kills any kind of fear or stigma. I think a lot of our fear and doubt comes from unknowing, from not knowing how the person, from assuming how the person is going to react, or assuming what they're going to think of us, or what have you. Whereas if you have the conversation, when someone really cares about you, it's hard for them to not take something that is obviously so personal to you seriously. It's hard for them to just be that callous with it. Even if, like me, I'm not gonna lie, in uncomfortable situations, I will crack a joke in a minute. I will, because I want to make us both comfortable, and it's very hard to be uncomfortable when you're laughing. You know what I mean? It's very hard to. So if I can make her smile, if I can make her laugh, I know we're in a good place to where we can keep the conversation going. Because if it starts getting too uncomfortable, then she starts shutting down, or maybe I start shutting down. You know what I mean? So I'm always about trying to keep it, the levity at a level to where the communication can continue to flow. But make no mistake, I crack a joke to help myself out too, because it can get uncomfortable. Some of the, these conversations could get very uncomfortable. What if your girl wants to tell you about how her father rapes her? Like, and this is someone you love and care about, and to think that someone violated them in that way, like I've been in that situation, and I literally wanted to go out and kill the person. Like, there was God's will, which basically held me down, because I was literally ready to go get in my car and kill this person, because I was so incensed. Like, how do you do that to your daughter or what have you? Like, how do you do, like, anyway, what I'm saying is, like, these conversations can be whatever the conversation is about. And if it's about a physical trauma or injury or malady that you're suffering from, or a condition you're dealing with, then that can be traumatizing. And when it's someone that cares about you and they see how hard it is for you, it's very rare you'll see someone just be completely and totally callous in that situation. So it does take courage, but you have to trust them and their relationship enough to say, you know what, I got to do this. Like, if we're gonna have any shot at any kind of building anything real, there's some things about me you need to know, and go from there. And if they don't accept it, if they are just like, oh my God, then at least I can move. Like, yeah, I gotta let you go because you got some growing up to do. Or what have you.
Why would it be grow out? That hurt.
I'm saying if their reaction is, oh no, you didn't. You can't do what? Oh, yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is, okay, I understand saying it that way, but what if the person is not willing to, because it doesn't say that she has feelings towards him.
I was speaking specifically about that reaction, not about every reaction.
Okay.
What I'm saying is you will know in that moment whether or not that they're the person for you, or whether or not they understand, or whether or not they can move forward. And these are all good things to know. These are things you want to know before you get any more invested in it.
Right.
And with him dealing with the best friend, I'm gonna put it like this. She may or may not know. You don't know how much the wife told her. But even if she does know, she will appreciate you having the conversation with her. If she's on that level of y'all are both looking at each other in the same way, kind of, let's start a little something. She will appreciate him having that conversation with her, even if she does know everything. Him having the courage to say, look, this is what it is. I mean, that is, from what I've been told, I'm not a woman. From what I've been told, that's very attractive. For a man to be like, look, this is what it looks like for me. This is what it is. I care about you. These are some things about me that I need you to know before we go forward. Because I don't want to get hurt, and I don't want you getting hurt. Thus and such. And if she can deal with it, then you good.
I think it's also important for him to feel, to not feel ashamed of his situation. for him to really, like I said, understand that there are other things that he can do, because he's saying someone without intercourse, is it possible to have a good relationship with someone without intercourse? Well, I think that is what he needs to work on. It is possible, and you're not doomed. Now, whether she's willing to do it is something else. Whether this particular person is willing to do it is something else. But you've been with a woman for all these years, and now you're out dating, and you may not date this woman, but you may date the next woman. Know in yourself that just because you cannot, get an erection doesn't mean that you're doomed from having any type of sexual relation. And I think that's what he needs to get as he re-enters into the dating world, looking to be with someone and be intimate with someone. Because if you're making me feel like you're not comfortable about your ability, that's a totally different thing. But if you come to me and you're more confident about the fact that you can be with me in different ways, meaning you can intimacy, talking, comfort, all the different ways of being with me, versus saying I can do this but I can't do that. Come to me. This is how, when it comes to sex, this is how I can satisfy you. This is some of the things that we can do, and this is some of the things that I can't do. And have that discussion versus saying, I can't have sexual intercourse with you, are we doomed? Or having that mindset.
Well, if he's not comfortable, if he hasn't dealt with himself first, the shame, and become comfortable with himself, he don't need to be dating nobody anyway.
Well, I think this is the part, because it's definitely saying, is it possible to have a good relationship? Is it possible? He's asking the question, is it possible?
Right, but I think
so.
I think, like, in a relationship type sense, that could be a valid question. It might not be, and I don't know him, so I don't know. It might not be that he hasn't accepted himself. He might just be wondering, like, as a female, if I were to tell you this, what would you think? What would you, how should I approach this, blah, blah, blah. But if he's coming at it from a standpoint of, oh, my life is over, do you think anyone will ever love me again? He's got some inner work to do. He got to, figure himself out. And I because, number one, let's be honest. Like, if you come into a wishy-washy, kind of like, oh, well, I can't really do nothing for you, that's not attractive. Don't nobody want that.
Nope.
Nobody want that. You want that dude that even if he can't.
Look, I can't do this, but let me tell you, I can do this. Okay, now.
Exactly.
So be like, look, but I tell you what, I got a triple scoop at McDonald's, and I finished that bitch in 5 minutes. You gonna be like, girl, I got a good one. That's what you're gonna say. Girl, I got a good one here. So I'm saying, you got to know your strengths. Know your strengths and own them, and not just know them, but own them. Be like, look.
I agree.
I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes of intercourse, but you're gonna have about 45 minutes of foreplay.
Yeah.
So trust me, you're gonna be all right. There.
Thank you. And that's the point I'm driving for. If the letter writer is listening, to just go with that and that. So yes, it is possible, and we're talking to you about how and why it's possible, and that no, you are not doomed.
And what I would say is, make it fun. Like, that's some things that y'all could research together. Like, there are certain points on a woman's body that you can touch, massage, tap, tickle, play with ice, and these aren't the regular erogenous zones that we always typically think of. There are different places, and that could be fun to explore, you know what I mean? Like, just to really see how far you could take her. And trust me, that's fun for everybody.
And likewise, to the man, you can do the same. And so for that man that thought that he couldn't, he will experience things that he didn't know that he could. So,
well, a couple of things I saw in the letter was that, and this is just where I saw when I read it, was that he's afraid of dating. It's been 30 years that he was in a marriage. So for him, what's easier is, well, here's my wife's best friend, and she's been so supportive of me, during this past year. So now he's attracted to her. The whole thought of anything with her could be merely fantasy on his part. I know that there's I don't even know if it's in the women's handbook, but I know that quite a few women that I've spoken to would never get into a relationship with their their friend's husband after, if anything happened. They just wouldn't, because number one, they know too much about the relationship because they were best friends. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, he's looking at this woman, but perhaps because he's afraid of the whole dating thing. I mean, dating has changed. He was married for 30 years, and now, he's making it all about her, because now all of a sudden I find myself attracted to her because she's been so supportive to me over the past year. But I don't know if it's even possible. But you don't even know that she's even thinking that, so maybe first you need to get comfortable in yourself and understand, what you can do or cannot do, and then decide, go on from there. Don't because I feel like the fixation on the wife's best friend is because that saves him having to go out and meet somebody, because the whole dating thing is real scary, especially after 30 years being married and then now having, issues and not being able to perform. So I don't even think that it's really about the wife's best friend or if anything is possible. It's the fear of the dating, the whole dating thing, and then, his performance issues, I think. I mean, I'm just that, but I know, like, for me and quite a few different people that I know, that's something that, it's like it's a no-no. I mean, I'm just saying.
So can I keep it real? Yes,
please.
Can I keep it real?
Yes.
So yes, it is in our creed. It's in our little book.
You don't mess with.
But a lot of people tear that page out.
Well, I ain't doing it. I don't care.
Of people.
That page is in there for me, and I'm not doing it.
You're one person. Well, you're not doing it, but we're talking to the audience, and people do it. That's number one. They do. I've talked to several who have done that, and they dealt with it, but they did, because you're there, you're sympathizing, you do know about each other. You do know about each other, and you sympathize, and you grow close, and it happens. It happens. That's number one. But back to the letter, he said he was ready to enter the dating pool.
But
and I look at the best friend as just one fish. That's just one fish. Because he said he's ready to enter the dating pool again. So she may be, and I hate to say it, but
he just mentioned her, but he's not really
he
specifically
he said he's attracted
to
her, and he doesn't even know if it'll go anywhere.
Okay.
He says I don't know whether the relationship is in the making.
But then
he says that.
But then specifically he's talking about her because he says, I'm afraid that once she finds out, that'll be the end of it. So he's thinking.
Right, but he doesn't even know if a relationship is in the making. He's just hypothetically thinking about stuff. And she's the one that's there. So she's the first fish. That's the way I look at it.
Okay.
But also, like you said, if that was his wife's best friend, right?
And
and he said that he doesn't know if she'll accept it once she finds out. Either they haven't talked about it for him to know whether she knows or not, or she didn't really know, and maybe they were childhood best friends, but they might not have been best friends lately.
Or maybe he told his wife not to tell nobody, and he don't understand how female best friends work. So maybe he don't think she knows. But I'm saying, if you say, okay, we're going to make this decision that I'm going to get rid of my prostate, but don't tell nobody. This is between me. Okay, baby, it's just, you know that she told.
There are women, I know this is crazy to think, there are women who will keep that secret, who will keep their man's secret Maybe
from
not
from
you, but there are women.
so look, any future dudes out there, understand that my best friend gonna know all kinds of stuff about you. I'm just saying.
There are women who would actually honor their man's wishes
Oh
and
my
not blab
Jesus!
their
Really,
business out.
Jamian?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe they're not in Florida, but
Yes.
Oh. First of all, I didn't grow
In
up
Texas,
in Florida.
they do.
Okay.
I can say that. Yes. Yes.
there are some women to where
I
when
can
they
definitely
man
say
say,
that.
"Look, this is between us. This is home. This is home team." She's like, "You right, baby. It's home team," and nobody knew. So
I can definitely say that.
I'm
But
just-
I'm going on the thing that he's saying that I don't know whether a relationship is in the making. He's just afraid that once she finds out that it won't be a relationship. But he doesn't know if one is even in the making. So
Well,
it's a
that's
fear.
a-
It's
that's
like you said before,
a
Jamie. It's a fear.
conversation. Yeah,
It's a fear he has.
he need to just take her out for a nice dinner and just be like, "Look, I'm feeling you."
And what did she say?
No.
I don't feel about. You feeling what?
Mhm.
What you? No, you was my
That's what
wife,
you
my
wanna
best
do.
friend's
That's
husband.
what you want to
No,
do.
that's
Then he go
never
find
gonna
another
happen.
fish.
Exactly. There you go. You know what? You're right. I didn't want to not say anything, but I respect how you feel, and I won't bother
And
you.
I'm on. Yeah.
No problem. But rather than sit there and wonder about, like, ooh, I wonder if she, what if she,
It's probably
what if she
easier
just touched my
to
arm?
have
What does
that
mean?
than to deal with the reality of, how, now you're 56 and you got to start all over again. And, you were thinking your college sweetheart, that was going to be, y'all were going to spend the rest of your lives together. So it's easy to, yes, I want to get back out there. Yes, I want to be in a relationship again. But let me just focus on this person right here because I don't want to do the work of trying to meet someone and get to know them. This one, she was my wife's best friend. So, she was at our wedding. She know me. Who knows? But it's an easier thing than to go start with somebody brand new that knows nothing about you. That, yes, you also got to tell that you got these issues, but then you also have to spend X amount of time getting to know one another. You feel comfortable in that you know some things about the wife's best friend because there is pillow talk. I'm just saying. So y'all girls who got best friends know that they be telling their husbands some of your business too. I'm just saying. Pillow talk. But, so, okay. So, all I would say to our letter writer is this. Yes, it's possible to have a good relationship with someone if your stuff doesn't work, because according to Jamie and Naomi, there are other things that can be done. Because y'all wouldn't want to, so it is possible. However,
I'm starting to feel like you've been deprived, Lady P.
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. I'm just saying.
But, okay,
She didn't believe it. Naomi, like she said that, like we
I
believe
know.
it.
She said they say.
I'm just saying that where I am at this point in my life, I probably wouldn't be one of the ones that would, that just wouldn't be
Like you
a
gotta
situation
rev the engine
for
up
me.
before you
I'm just saying. So I'm just saying. But there are and it, it comes with communication. To why is it sad?
Because I feel like you have just been. I feel you like one of them kids who parents never let them play outside. You know what I mean? Like.
No, I made them come in the house when the lights came on. They never knew what went
Everybody
on.
had to come in the house when the street lights came on. Now, come on now. Everybody know that.
But all of us snuck outside after the lights went off just to see what takes place.
I never
My
snuck
parents
outside.
had her in the house.
I
when the
didn't
sun
sneak outside.
hit the height of the sky. They was like, okay, sun is in the sky. We need you in the house. She's like,
All I'm saying is that personally, at this point in my life, that wouldn't be, that just wouldn't be my choice. And if I were to have a conversation with someone and they were explaining that, I would suggest that we keep a friendship and, that would be it. I wouldn't be, And like I said, it's not the be all end all. Of course, we know that we discussed that before, but it does have its place. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe if I just where I am at this point in my life, that just wouldn't be an option. Let's say,
Speak your
but
truth, girl.
there are other women his age and younger that would not reject him for that. And I'm not saying I would reject him. I would be a friend.
You kind of are saying
You really are saying it, Lady P.
Yeah.
I love you, but you really are saying it.
That's exactly what you said.
I love you, but you are saying I will reject you for that.
You're not even kind
Don't come my way if that's the case with you. No.
Well, you didn't even like subtly say you let him down easy. You was like,
No, like
Well, okay, so story time. So it was this guy that I had conversation with, and one day, I mean, we had conversations for a long time, but one day in the conversation, he mentioned about his situation and and he actually went into detail about the what the things that he does, and he has conversations, and even with the younger women, they're like, oh, you the best I ever had, blase blase. So I listen because I'm thinking, we just friends kicking it, we having a conversation. And then I was like, well, I'm just, I was just I said, I'm just curious as to why you share, because we weren't.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all friends and y'all.
Right, I didn't know why it came in, because I'm thinking, well, okay. So I said, well, I'm just curious as to, why you wanted to share that with me, because I'm thinking we weren't talking about nothing. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, well, I know in the past we've had. I said, which I mean, I be talking junk sometimes. So we've had like some conversation, but not like, let's do the, just talking junk. And he's like, well, I know we've had those conversations, and I just wanted to let you know. And I was like, you let me know all you want, but check this out. You don't let me know, so I already know that I know that I know. But I never, it was. I just can't right now. Maybe when I'm older, and maybe when I'm a little bit older, that might change.
But every type is not for every woman. So if that's not your cup of tea, that's not your cup of tea.
Right. So I'm just saying. But to our letter writer, there are women your age and younger that would not reject you for that. I would just encourage open communication. Do not say anything. Then when it come up to the time, then it's like, what the heck? So I would encourage, and if you want to start with this woman and, find out if there's any attraction on her side and have that conversation, then I would suggest to do so. But I think that you have to get, within yourself, your confidence, because I think that's gone right now. So I feel like once you get that where you feel confident in that, this is who I am, this is what I bring to the table as far as, that's concerned, then you can have that conversation. And regardless of what the outcome is, there are other people that if she doesn't feel the same way, there are other people that are not turned off by that, right? So I would say honest communication. What? What you say?
Uh-oh.
I said,
What'd
just
you
don't
say?
call you. I said, just don't call you.
Well, since the letter writer doesn't know me, but don't call me though, I'm just saying. No, I'm just playing. I mean, I'm just saying everyone is different. Everyone has different wants and needs and things, and they feel a certain way based on their life up to that point. I mean, so even if this best friend, doesn't feel that, it's other women that will. You just have to be open and honest with them. Be confident in who you are and what you bring to the table. And, 56 is still really young. You have, a lot of time to get into a relationship. It doesn't have to be the wife's best friend, So I'm just saying. That's my thoughts on it. I'm done. Since y'all want to just be talking about, I'm like all mean to people, and I'm not. I'm very nice to people. I was very nice when I had that conversation because I just asked why the person thought to share that with me. And when they mentioned why they thought so, I was like, oh. And I just left it alone. I ain't bringing it up no more. So I think that was enough to leave the
Well,
conversation alone.
to the letter writer, I just want to say yes, it is possible to have a good relationship. It's possible to have a great relationship. I also want to say, as you enter the pool of dating, remember exactly what you said. You're entering the pool of dating. I don't think you should go up to the person and say, "Hey, my name is Ray, and I can't do this."
But I can do
But
that.
when yeah, I don't think they should do
That should
that.
not be a
But I
right
think
away
that
conversation.
no, it should not be a right away conversation. Men that can do it don't come up on the first few things and say, "Hey, look, this is what
Some
I
of
can
them
do."
do, and
This
they
is
be
not
lying
this is
because
not
they
what I can
don't.
do to
They
you.
can't do what they say.
So
But and anyone that does that, you need to run anyway. If they come talking about what they can do, and you just met them.
So I
But
just encourage you to as you do get out there dating, as you do find someone that you want to be intimate with, is to be understanding in the fact that yes, you can still give a good intimate relationship, still have a good intimate relationship, still be a good partner if you allow yourself to do so.
and Jamie, really, you ain't got nothing to say. You
I
just do
just say
thumbs up.
communication, man, communication. Just you need to know if she got Lady P's thinking or if she got Naomi's thinking.
Oh
You know,
my
and
Jesus!
as soon as you find
Really,
that out,
Jamie?
as soon as you find that
No, he
out,
did not.
then
No, he did not.
Just
then the
straight up.
easier it's
I'm
gonna
like,
be.
really?
As soon as you find that out, the easier it's gonna be for you. You just need to know who she is, but before any of that, you gotta be okay with who you are and what you can do and what you bring to the table. Don't go in there looking for someone else to validate
Mm.
or to give you confidence or to make you feel worthwhile. If you don't feel worthwhile going in, she ain't gonna make you feel no better. Trust me. Probably gonna make you feel worse. So go in there with your own sense of self.
Right.
And then, let the chips fall where they may. If there's an attraction there and she likes you, whether she is or isn't aware of what you're dealing with, have a conversation with her and just let her know, hey, this don't define me, but this is something that I am blessed with right now. So
Okay. Yeah, because my thought is too. It's almost like he feels like he needs to disclose that up front before anything, because before he gets his feelings involved and start liking someone and then they reject him because of it. But I feel like if he gets where he's good within himself and who he is, because that doesn't define you, then just as any relationship with someone who doesn't have those issues, you could still like someone and they're not feeling it either. So I think just get some confidence. Get up in the morning, look in the mirror, say I'm this, I'm that, and just get that back first. And as you get to the point with whomever, whether it is the best friend of your wife, childhood best friend, or if it's someone else, understand that when it gets to that point to even disclose it, disclose it with confidence. Don't be like, "Yeah, my stuff don't work." No, I mean, just be like, "Look, check this out. Ain't nobody 20 no more." So, and go from there. And regardless of how it's received, you'll be okay. If it's not received the way you thought, it's okay too. But just be honest with it, and you'll find the right person that will be happy that you were honest with them, that will be happy to be in a relationship with someone who wants to be in a relationship. And I've heard that as you get older, it's not really that big of a deal, compared to how big of a deal it was, in the 20s and 30s. So, I mean, look at it that way. Now, if you're trying to pull a 25-year-old, you might have some issues. So, but you never know. So, that's my thoughts on it. Any final thoughts? No? Okay. Well, I thank you both for joining me. As I said at the top of the show, I'm not sure if everyone was on and heard me, but we are changing the show. This is really going to be like our Let's Talk Relationship show where we just talk about our topic. We may do hot topics, and then we have our topic of the week and our letter, but we are putting the Battle of the Sexes on ice for a minute. We are totally tied for the year. One team won a month. The other team won the month. They tied the third month. So we're going to ice that portion of the show and bring in a new segment. We're super excited about that. And we thank you for joining us. We hope that our candid conversation was a benefit and that there were some points that you heard that were beneficial to you, or maybe even someone you talked to in a conversation that's coming up that hasn't come yet, that some of the points that we made are helpful. And we will see you same time next week. So have an awesome, awesome, awesome rest of the week. Oh, off topic, I got my second shot. So I think as of, 1 week, in a week I'll be fully inoculated and whatnot. It was not as bad as I've heard. Some people have had some reactions with the second shot. I can now read minds, so, just beware. And I can also see into the future. That was the side effects of my shot. But I'm just saying, everyone be safe. Have a great week, and we're going to see you this time next week, all right? See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. If I could hit end, Jesus. Bye, guys.